In this video, you're going to learn what symptoms to look for to determine if a property has foundation settling. I decided to start in this back room because it has a ton of cracks on the walls. Over the window there, over the door, again over the door, and just in a random spot. This crack to the right over the door. Look, this is a settling symptom, big one. The trim here is cracked. And again, the other side of the door in the corner, big settling symptom. Now onto the doors. This sliding glass door had a crack and it wouldn't shut. This door, when it was shut on the left, it hung out a square. And this one is an extreme example again. And this is what you're looking for the doors. Cracks on one or both sides. Big symptom of settling here. Also over doorways like this, you see a big crack there. And this is crack again over the door. And looking down on the seam of the same door, you see that the door is at a square. You can see the light coming through the middle. Moving on to the windows. The window has a crack both above, you can see there, and below, where the frame of the window begins to shift because of the settling. And I decided to try to open the window here to see if it would open. Most of the times when they're settled like that, they don't open. This house particularly had the windows just replaced. I chose this one as an extreme example so you can see how the wall is pulling away from the window. Harder to see on the inside, the outside is better for that. And now onto the floors. You're going to see cracks in the floors, and what you're looking for here is a crack that goes from tile to tile to tile. Crack in one tile, well, that could happen from a dish falling on it or something, but cracks from tile to tile to tile like that, it's a good example of foundation settling. Now onto the exterior. If the house you're looking at has any kind of hardscape like brick or stone, you're looking for these step cracks right here. That's a dead giveaway that there's some type of settling. I'm looking under the windows over here. Pretty serious settling if it goes all the way straight through a brick like that. This is an example of leaning walls, where the foundation is settling so much that the walls are actually pulling off of the building. There's also cracking underneath of this AC unit. It's pulling away right there. Here on the other side. Do you see the distance there between the window and the brick? That's how far it's settled and pulled away from the wall. Then this is an extreme example of an out-of-square door. That's what you're looking for. Symptoms of settling. Over doors, windows, in siding. This is an example of the parging cracking and missing. Settlement has caused it to crack. And then this is a cracked corner. This house had 2 or 3 corners that cracked off. Next up, how to check the plumbing system. You're going to go into all the bathrooms and turn on the water and flush the toilet. If you see water coming up into the shower pan and making a puddle, you know that you either have a clog or that the foundation is settled in an area and cracked the pipe. This is also going to tell you whether you got hot water in the house and if any of the fixtures are leaking. In the bathroom, I turned on the water, and I'm going to turn on the heat as well as the cold. There's no hot water in this house, so that's an easy way to test. No hot water here. And I'm going to have the shower on full blast. And I'm going to flush the toilet. And look, is the water backing up? In this video, you're going to learn how to inspect the roofing system. And like any good crime scene investigator, you're looking for evidence. Now, there's only so much you can see looking outside on the roof deck. You're looking at shingles with maybe a pair of binoculars, but it's really hard to see if there's any damage to the roof. You can look for lifted shingles, you can look for flanges missing on the pipes that go through the attic, but really the best way to check and to see if you have a damaged roof is to come into the attic and look at this decking right here. It leaves clues all over the place. If there's a leak, the deck will typically be black and moldy in an area. So the major portion of a roof check is just simply going up the ladder, the attic ladder, or putting your little ladder up there for the scuttle and opening the scuttle hole, and just sticking your head up there and looking around. You don't even need to go into the attic fully. Just stick your head in there with a flashlight and look to see if the decking around you is black or damaged. If you do decide to walk around in the attic, be really careful. If you put your foot, almost lost it there, if you put your foot in between the rafters on this insulation, you'll fall right through the ceiling. You have to step on these boards here that go horizontal. Just going to step over, and you're looking at the roof decking up in here to see if there's any damage. Roof penetrations. Look at this guy right here. That decking's damaged. There is a flange that's messed up that needs to be replaced there. If you can, take an opportunity to look at the roof. In this house particular, if you can see behind me, this roof looks like it's flat. I can't see any pitch. Please be careful when getting on ladders. Sometimes you underestimate them. Just be very careful if you're going to get on a ladder at all. Use binoculars wherever you can. All right, so here we have a flat roof. It's not pitched properly. There's a puddle sitting right over the kitchen and leaking down right here, you see. Also see around this vent pipe here in the foreground, there's tar on that pipe. Anytime you see tar on a pipe, it's because there was probably a leak or someone didn't know how to install a flange properly. There's one here, there's one over on that gray pipe over there. Must have a flange. That's going to leak, and it won't be long either. And this joint here, see how wavy it is? That does not look good. Also, they use tar here. You should never see tar on a roof. I know that sounds weird, but UV and tar, UV damage, the sunlight damages that tar, and it's going to come off of there, and then water will flow right off of here, right underneath the roof. Now that you've stuck your head in the attic, and you've been outside looking at the roof with your binoculars, let's recap what you need to be writing up. Number one, is the decking damaged in the attic? Is it black from mold or water damage? Number two, looking at the shingles outside, are any shingles damaged or missing? Number three, are there any flanges missing or tar being used to seal up a hole? That's it for a roofing inspection. You're going to learn in this video how to test the AC system. In order to get started, you're going to need a temperature testing gun. It's got an infrared light on it, and it reads the temperature of the vents, the supply and the return vent here on the back. The first test, you're going to take the temperature gun and measure the return air. This is where the filter is typically in a house. It can be on the floor near the ground, or it can be up in the ceiling. Just going to take the temperature reading here, and then head on over to a supply vent and take a temperature reading there. Taking the temperature readings from the supply and the return in Fahrenheit, let me explain to you what we're doing with those readings. The return air vent is pulling the air from the house into the air handler and across the coil, and it's cooling the air and depositing it out the supply vent. The difference between those two should be between 18 and 22 degrees. So when you take those readings, just take the supply and subtract the return, and you will get the difference between the two readings. If it's less than 18 degrees, that means that it's probably low on Freon, or there could be another condition, but that's typically what it is. If there's been a leak somewhere in the system and it needs to be recharged. If it's cooling too much, over 22 degrees, it could mean that there's a blockage in the system and it could be dirty and it's causing the coil to freeze up. They're both issues that can cause major problems, and this temperature reading, as simple as it sounds, just taking a quick reading of the supply and a quick reading of the return, will really give us a good indication as to how the system is performing and whether or not it needs to be replaced or repaired. Upload any of your pictures, the conditions that you find, and I'll be happy to look at them for you. Happy hunting out there.